Today's date is February 26th, 2021.
This is the morning news brought to you by Ahmed.
And Quinn, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Today's animal review is the giant panda. The panda is a herbivorous bear that has a lifespan of up to 20 years and weighs from 160 to 200 pounds. The panda's diet consists of bamboo and leaves, but since there's a lack of nutritional value, they must eat 12 to 38 kilograms every day. Beware though, because the panda bear is a cute and cuddly creature, doesn't mean it can't attack you, because panda bears are known to attack humans when irritated. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the panda bear.
For lunch today, we have a choice of shrimp poppers and cheesy grits or chicken poppers and cheesy grits, breaded chicken sandwich with lettuce tomato cup, and chicken garden salad.
Sides include steamed broccoli, steamed green beans, mixed up fruit cup, or fresh fruit.
Gamble for the rest of the announcements.
Good morning, Hawks. Here we are, Friday, February the 26th, and bam, just like that, another month in the books. You never get it back, and hopefully you were productive and didn't waste that time. Moving right in, sports action. Our Lady Hawks took on the Mabane Mustangs Wednesday over at the Sidney Lanier Gym and came with a resounding win. I mean, stomped them. It was like 48 to about 7. No contest at all, really. Lady Hawks streaking and peaking at just the right time. The boys had a much tougher fight on their hand. I had to leave because we had a PTA meeting. Hated to leave at the start of the third quarter, and we were down by like 4, but our boys fought, started sinking some big buckets, wound up winning by, I think, 12. So both our teams streaking and peaking right as we head into the playoffs here. No word on where our playoff games will be. They won't be at Sidney Lanier because our team's records aren't that good right now. So we'll be the visitor, we'll be the underdog. That's okay. We like being the underdog. So press on and stay tuned for playoff news. We'll share it as soon as we get it. Okay, got some other important announcements, so please pay close attention. 8th graders, you all for a long time now, thanks largely to Miss Bruger, giving up her lunch to take you all down to the park, have enjoyed the park activity, socializing and everything. Here's the deal. You must go check in with your 5th period class before heading down there. Drop off your backpacks, most importantly, your laptops. We do not need laptops in the park. If you are down there in the park before Ms. Bruger or any other adult gets down there, you will be immediately returned and you won't come back. So do not go down to the park unless an adult's told you it's okay to go down there. All right. Hey, let's not mess up a good thing. All right. And it is indeed a good thing. Gosh, this weather is so gorgeous. It's so nice to be out there in the park. So again, check in at your 5th period class after leaving 4th period before going to lunch. That's the way it's always been. Okay, as promised, the other day I really messed up the audio, and my spotlight was for Mr. Joel Buchanan. So here's a picture of Mr. Buchanan from a 1972 Howard Bishop yearbook when he was a teacher here. Why are we highlighting Mr. Buchanan? Because back in 1964, he and 2 other female students from the all-black Lincoln High School were the first students to integrate Gainesville High School. Again, 1964. So that was full 6 years before it was court-ordered integration and they shut down Lincoln Middle School. So he was a true pioneer, and they did this with considerable risk to themselves. I found a YouTube video of an interview with Mr. Buchanan, and first of all, guess what? They rode to school in a police car for their own safety. They had to enter school after classes began for their own safety. And he says he was called every name in the book. And you can imagine that, leaving all your friends behind. And he wasn't a ninth grader freshman. That was his junior year. So that's when you should be really enjoying high school and being with your friends. But again, he was a brave man. And, it's only 16, 17 at the time, and put up with quite a bit to be the pioneer to bring integration to Gainesville High. So salute to Mr. Buchanan. He taught for a while, and then went to work at the university, became known as an historian, did a lot of work with what's called the Samuel Proctor Oral History Project, where he conducted lots of interviews that are archived with the University of Florida. And sadly, he passed away in 2014, and he was only 65 years old, which, my book's kind of young. So, but again, a true pioneer and someone to be looked up to and admired. So salute to you. And rest in peace, of course, Mr. Buchanan. Okay, remember, we haven't said this for a little bit, but we still have the importance of keeping our masks on and wearing them properly all the time. I'm fortunate, I've had my vaccination even, although, let's see, it's been just over, we say 10 days. So I think I'm at about the 10-day mark, but I'm going to give it another 4 days. Still, I'm going to keep wearing my mask because it protects me, protects those around me. And it's the right thing to do. So even though I've had my vaccination, I'm going to keep wearing my mask. So you should too. So students, let's keep up the good work of doing what we're supposed to do. Got it? Good. Remember, be kind always. It's the right thing to do. Work hard every 50 minutes of every single class you have here. Finally, give someone a compliment during the day. When you receive a compliment, look that person in the eye and say, thank you. All right, let's have a fantastic Friday, Hawks. Ciao. Thank you.
Happy Black History Month. Today we're talking about Coretta Scott King.
Born April 27, 1927 in Marion, Alabama, she became a well-known musician who sang about civil rights.
For college, she went to Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio. She graduated with her BA in music and education.
Mrs. King was awarded a fellowship to the New England Conservatory, where she met Martin Luther King Jr. in 1952.
Mrs. King then married Martin Luther King Jr. on June 18, 1953, as a civil rights activist.
Mrs. King worked with her husband through the 50s and 60s.
Mrs. King and her husband joined the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955.
In 1964, Mrs. King traveled to India to pass the Civil Rights Act.
On the death of Martin Luther King Jr., Coretta Scott King led the planned march in Memphis to support striking sanitation workers that was originally planned by Martin Luther King Jr.
Mrs. King continued the net mission of Martin Luther King Jr. until 1995, as she passed the reins of the King Center to her son Dexter.
Coretta Scott King had lived through a heart attack and stroke in August of 2005, but passed away less than 6 months later.
14,000 people attended her funeral on the date February 7th, 2006, in Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Georgia.
She was buried by her husband in Atlanta, Georgia.
Have a great
Have a good day.
Go Hawks.
Hawks.